do our classic and start without flood?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because
probably.
as soon as we do, he'll pop in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, let's start this off. Okay, so everyone ignore the last 10 minutes to 15 minutes of scuff streaming. I'm very sorry about the sound issues. That was completely my fault. Shock horror. Okay, so this is podcast number 3 with the Crypto Cartel. Our special little guest today is Nicola Duke, aka the Queen of Fibs. Nicola, thank you for being here. Very excited to have you on.
Thanks.
And Nicola, so tell us a little bit about yourself. You said you used to be in the RAF. What did you do in the RAF?
Well, yeah, I'm like, I'm obviously much older than most of your listeners. Yeah, when I was first, my first job was I went to the RAF college, and then I was in the RAF. I was an air traffic controller, and I did an 8-year short service commission. Okay. And then I was an air traffic controller.
Wait, did you just say, sorry,
civilian life,
and then short service?
Yeah, well, yeah, compared to like 30 years, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. okay, so you did your 8 years.
Touche.
I did my 8 years, and then I did 4 years as a civilian controller at Heathrow, London Heathrow, and then I always, they had they did a recruitment at Heathrow. This hedge fund, a chemical bank, did a recruitment before I went there. They thought that they could make air traffic controllers into really good traders, and so they recruited a whole bunch of them. And the only one that made it was the woman on the course, and she absolutely smashed it. She's like a billionaire. And I always thought, God, that could have been me, And my mum was always had shares, and I had my first share trading account, through her when I was like 16, and it was, great fun. So I'd always been interested in the markets, but never kind of gone that route. I didn't really have anyone in my family or anyone to inspire me into the city. So I always thought, God, that could have been me. I wanted to do it. So
all right, okay. So
I kind of made it my mission.
So they actually recruited air traffic controllers to be traders.
Yeah, they recruited air traffic controllers to be traders, and they trained them. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So did they say why they wanted to do that? Just because of like patience or attention to detail?
They thought that they would make good traders.
Was their ability to
they found that actually most of them were far too risk adverse. They wouldn't take risks.
Yeah, okay, because that's obviously been beaten out of them to begin with, because you never want to take any risks. Okay, all right, that's really interesting actually. Okay, so you joined the RAF, and then
so I got this like bug in my head.
Yeah.
So anyway, then a friend of mine, I had some planes, and he wanted somebody to manage them and start an air charter company. So I went to Canada, and I did that for a few years, and I met a guy who wrote a trading book for a really famous Wall Street trader called Victor Sperendio, and he ghostwrote his book. Anyway, he gave me this book of technical analysis. And I was like, do you know what? I could do this. So, yeah, that's when I decided just to do it.
So are you completely self-taught? Did you have like a mentor, or did you just pick up some books?
I'm originally completely self-taught. And then I did, funnily enough, meet somebody who mentored me. And I really, I find it, the learning technical analysis or learning a strategy is really quite easy. But I was never profitable until I had a mentor, really. I never really got the discipline, or just I was never quite organized enough. I was really bad at profit taking, and every mistake that most new traders make, I'm probably made. But yeah, that turned it around for me very much. So
okay, cool.
And I had a mentor, who never ever once gave me a trade idea or taught me a trick. He literally was like mostly psychological, so it was really cool.
Okay. All right, okay.
That's interesting.
And sorry, so you started in traditional stock markets, and then you moved into crypto at a later point?
No. I started in I futures and FX, but FX only small, probably just like the majors, the first 6 pairs or something.
Right.
And crude oil. I learned to trade crude oil. And then when I first went and traded for myself, I traded just crude oil for for a couple of years.
Okay. And so
then I built up like a trading record, and then I sent my trading record to some prop firms in the UK and got taken on, and then moved back to the UK from Canada. And Because when I first, it's really quite hard transitioning from one job to becoming a full-time trader.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard psychologically, from that being your living. And in Canada, because the UK markets at that time, that was the best market. So I would get up at 1:30 in the morning and trade the London Open, and then until like 7 or 8 in the morning, and then do my regular job, and then kind of go to bed really early. And I did that for about a year while I was transitioning. I had no other life at all. It was just markets. And even when I was doing my other job, I was like, oh, what's that doing? What's that doing?
So you basically had to wake up for the London Hyundai roll every day. Okay, and
exactly,
the London Hyundai, perfect. Okay, so you started in FX, moved to crude oil, traded that for a couple of years. So you said you reached out to a couple of trading firms. Do you currently trade for a trading firm, or do you trade by yourself?
No, so I went to a prop trading firm, and I spent 2 years there, and I was doing technical. So I did all my technical analysis exams, and then I met a guy at a hedge fund and got taken on by them, and I became their analyst and a trader there. But I was in a trading team, so I didn't execute my own trade idea. I was in like a team.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I did that for a couple of years, and then crypto came along. And honestly, I've made more money trading crypto than I ever made.
Okay, so that's really funny.
I've made more money, probably in the last 2 years. Then.
Great stuff. Okay, and sorry, just to quickly go, Flood, welcome. I see you've joined. He's got his mic muted, so he might not be ready to talk. But
hi.
Did you get your hair done good?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
He's playing a survival online web game. So you joined crypto.
So
what time? What year did you get into crypto, Nicola?
Okay, so I think at this prop firm that I was at, so we had a guy who, he was into the Silk Road and a lot of drugs, and he was like, "This thing is so cool. It's so clever. You've got to buy some." And it was like, less than $1. We were like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to buy that." And I think I bought mine when they were like $6 or $7, the first Bitcoins that I bought.
Nice.
And we all bought some. I think we all did like £1,000 worth. And I sold my Bitcoins. So I sold my Bitcoins that I bought at $6 or $7 for $211.
Not a bad
and
trade.
I actually thought that I was the biggest genius in the world.
Yeah, and then you saw 20 and you were like, ooh.
And it came back, like it went beyond it, and I was like pissed off. And it came back to where I sold them, and I could have bought them back, and I didn't. I'm an idiot, really.
Okay. So did you take a break from crypto at that point?
Yeah, I definitely did because I was a hedge fund, and I wasn't allowed any personal trading at all. So.
Oh, really? Right. Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I take it crypto kind of flied under the radar at that point because it was so kind of small.
Yeah, well then I kind of got permission, but we had to share. We had to, you have to let them know what we're doing and blah blah blah.
All right, okay.
And so I did. So yeah, I was doing a bit, not telling anyone. and then I was like, God, So yeah.
Okay, so another person who got into crypto because of Silk Road at some point, not because you were obviously a user yourself, but because someone found out about Bitcoin.
Oh no, someone at this prop firm, yeah. Like it's quite a lot of people.
All right, okay.
Not everybody, but like few people used to do.
I think a lot of people. I mean, boys and gals, put one in the chat if you found out about Bitcoin from Silk Road or other websites. This will be an interesting test. But yeah, so Kane, was that how you found out about it?
No, actually, I was doing brokering high tier items in video games, Counter-Strike actually, and a lot of my clients, are Chinese or Saudi, and like the higher tier items, like $20,000-$30,000 for this random fucking cosmetic skin in Counter-Strike, they wanted to, instead of using like in-game currencies, they wanted to transact in Bitcoin, and that's how I got into it. And then I was on Twitter and researching stuff, and I saw people that were, doing charts and things like this, and then I would go through the rest of their content on their Twitter. I'm like, damn, these people are not fucking like super intelligent. Like I could do this. If they're making money doing this, I could do this. And so it kind of,
this is so true.
yeah, you look around, you're like, God damn, like you don't have to be smart to make money, but you're fucking stupid. So I could definitely do this. Like, yeah. So that was the transition for me.
Good. All right. Okay. So, I mean, Turnip, what about you? How did you find out about Bitcoin? I know we've like kind of briefly discussed this before, but let's just do a little recap for everybody who's new and any of Nicola's followers who are in the chat.
Turnip alive, confirmed.
Turnip dead. Rest in peace.
Probably
Turnip.
past their bedtime.
Yeah. Well, actually, Nicola, we're the only ones in the UK. Zabs is an hour ahead of us, but the rest of them, it's like midday for them. So it's way past my bedtime.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. And Turnip's pretty hopped up on Sour Patch Kids already. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, okay. So we'll move away from the Silk Road's area of discussion. So so you trade full time. Do you mostly trade crypto now? Would you say, or you like kind of without putting numbers on it? Would you say you're mostly crypto, a little bit less stocks, or are you still mostly stocks and such? You just play around with crypto for fun, or not fun, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I would say that I have term stock book, like swing trading book, but it's really small and I haven't been paying much attention.
Mm-hmm.
I do look at FX and futures every day, but to be honest, between crypto and my group, which has become like, I thought I would get 50 people.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I got a lot more than that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so it's so time consuming. I just don't have the time.
It is bloody time consuming, yeah. I mean, we look after 12k degenerates, and a lot of us spend.
Yeah, we didn't expect this at all.
Yeah.
I know, and I find the weight of responsibility because I feel like really responsible that you have to be there every day and good content, and so yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because it's your group, you gotta show up every day and. You got produced content and stuff like that. It is difficult, especially when you've got all your other stuff.
I have to say, I found it way more rewarding than I thought. Like, so rewarding. So,
yeah.
I have people that like started from nothing that have just completely smashed it. They've done so well, much better than I probably would have done. So
that's good. That's good to hear. All right. Okay.
I think that goes along with what you said about you were doing XYZ, but until you had a mentor was when things changed.
Yeah. And like we
I think people in my strategy group think that they're paying to learn a strategy. Well, you can watch 4 videos and you've got the strategy in a day, but they're still there because I really think of it more like group mentoring because they turn up every day and they listen to me saying the same things. Don't chase it. Don't buy the highs. Wait for the pullback. Double top. Warning. This is going to turn around. And you say the same things every day, and it kind of sinks in. So it is like group mentoring, really. And then the best thing about it is how they help each other. So if you're not there, so nobody's trading alone. When you first start trading, you can learn a strategy really easily, but the psychology of it and the mentals is really hard. So when you're with other people that keep you on the straight and narrow and stop you revenge trading and chasing a market that you shouldn't be, then you do much better.
Yeah, very important lessons to know during markets like this, Bitcoin price action, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, which has been really tricky.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's cool. So, one of the questions we had was for you, Nicola, was do you trade Bitcoin with leverage? And if so, are you a BitMEX, Bitfinex, or other fangirl?
Do you know, I'm a bit Finex, but having met all you guys, I've decided I'm going to try BitMEX.
Nicola, do you know what you should do?
Maybe I'll rush and get it in time for your competition.
You know what you should do? You should wait until the start of June.
Actually, you've got your competition starting
you
there.
should join in our competition. That'd be really cool. It's 0 to hero, and you can go against the greats like Flood here, who is confident his 15-minute scalping is gonna wreck you all. And we'll see everyone put their money where their mouth is. My bet is actually on Esbra to break you all. So
honestly,
to be honest,
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I'm up for Esbra.
Great, bro.
Zabs, what's your plan?
Trading a 15-minute, unless you're the market maker and you're making the spread, I think is like crazy. But
King trades 1
That's
minute
just me.
candles.
I don't
Yeah, but
trade
if you're a market maker though,
Yeah,
and you're making the spread, if you're paying the spread, it's different.
Yeah, that's cool. So I mean, let's talk about the trading companies just real quick. I'll talk more about it at the end. But obviously, everyone here, potentially even Nicola, will be taking part. Zabs, do you have like a strategy that you're gonna go for, or are you just gonna wing it and see how you feel at the time? Because obviously you're a longer term position, lower leverage person, and suddenly you've got to you're not forced to make trades, but it is time pressures. You've got a month to get as much balance as you can. What's your plan?
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty much the same as Nicola on this. I've always traded Finex, and the reason why I've traded Finex is purely because it's just low leverage. I mean, if I've wrecked a couple of FX accounts in my time, and that's purely because you can 50x, 100x, 200x.
Yeah.
So I'm still not 100% sure of how I'm gonna do it, but I'll pretty much probably be taking maybe like daily trades or 3-day trades.
Yeah. Okay.
I really don't. I want to stay out of the anything from 2 hour and lower. I'm definitely staying out of.
Right. Okay. Are you confident that that's going to produce enough? I'm not going to say enough trades, but are you confident enough in your ability to because obviously, I mean, the aim of this game will be to compound interest like crazy.
How long does the competition last?
So we weren't going to put time cap on it, but everyone's going to get bored and lose interest. So it's going to be for the month of June. It's going to start the 1st of June and end the 30th of June, and it's basically the first 3 people to 1 Bitcoin or the highest 3 balances at the end. The winners get a BitMEX T-shirt and a CryptoCartel T-shirt, and obviously you get to brag about how cool you are.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's like I mean, that's the thing about Max is that it does offer leverage. So obviously it's going to be the only place where you can really run up 0.01 Bitcoin to 1 Bitcoin.
Competition's BitMEX only.
In a timely fashion.
Yeah, in a timely fashion, exactly.
Yeah, and shout out to Gaitus who's donating the t-shirts to the cause. They're official BitMEX t-shirts. You can't buy them anywhere.
Yeah, you can't buy them anywhere. They won't even give it to me.
Yeah, you better win then, Flood.
What was that even supposed to mean?
But yeah, so anyways, Nick, I have a question for you. Back to mentorship through finance. I mean, I have a finance background, right? So for me, kind of something I really realized was that a lot of things in finance have already been discovered or have already been created. So a lot of finance is just doing what someone who is not necessarily smarter than you, but someone who has a lot more experience than you have, and listening to what they have to tell you and not reinventing the wheel. Because, I mean, that was kind of a shock to me where like in science and, in maybe other disciplines, you're constantly trying to discover new things. Whereas finance, you're using pre-existing, formulas and pre-existing, asset allocation strategies and arbitrage strategies, as long as you're not in high frequency trading, which I was not a part of. But it's definitely kind of a shock to some people who maybe want to get into finance. They don't realize that it's not like you're not really doing groundbreaking stuff all the time.
No.
Being honest,
I 100% agree. Like everything I know, I did not invent. I learned from something. I learned from someone else, and I think that most people who become good traders are a bit like magpies. They'll learn a little trick from some person, and they'll learn something else from somewhere else, and they'll put it together, and they'll make their own strategy, and quite often, people have a couple of strategies that they'll use, but they'll learn one, and so people that come to me, they'll learn one way of trading, but they'll say, well, that's all right, but I really don't think her such and such is so good. I'm going to use an RSI instead, or and they make it themselves. And I think that works best of all, because then you've got your own strategy that you trust and is yours. But yeah, no, there's nothing new. Everything I know, I've learned from someone else. But I learned some really cool stuff. Like fib stuff I've read some really obscure Fibonacci books, but I've learned some stuff that nobody else uses, or have some observations. But I suppose, well, not that everybody else uses, but I obviously, because I learned it from someone, but it's kind of weird, like old books and stuff. But
So Flood, would you
still
say
works.
that's one of the reasons why you obviously used to work in a trading company as an analyst? Is that one of the reasons why you kind of turned away from it, because you wanted to do something new, something that wasn't done already, and you didn't want to just follow the set guidelines?
Well, I mean, it was very simple for me. It wasn't necessarily something I loved, nor was the pay exceptional. And if I'm being honest, it does take quite a while to move up, especially in corporate ladder-esque places like that. So that's kind of definitely something to consider for anyone who wants to get into finance.
Okay.
Yeah, and then trading, actually trading your own ideas gives you a lot more flexibility. And honestly, if you are a good trader, you're eventually probably going to go work for a family office or something. You're not going to work for, anything
Yeah.
other than the top tier investment banks, or you'll just trade your own money, because at that point, why wouldn't you trade your own money? If you're a consistently profitable trader, why are you, kind of copping out and just taking a salary? I mean, it's nice to have that backup, but why not trade your own money? That was my kind of rationale.
Okay, cool.
I think investment banks are almost impossible unless you go in through their graduate scheme. Certainly in the UK, they're almost impossible to get into. Whereas like prop trading firms and family offices and funds, it's all about your performance. I agree.
Okay. So it's interesting you guys talking about trading your own money and stuff like that, because one of the first question, should I say, the first topic is life as a full-time trader. So people are really interested in finding out like what your day looks like as a full-time trader. I think this is going to vary hugely for everyone here, but what does your day look like as a full-time trader, and how, when you went full-time, how did it affect your mentality in taking trades? Did you feel like did you fall down that route of I need to make these wins because if I don't I can't pay my rent? Or were you more relaxed alternatively, or whatever? How did you guys feel about that, and how did it affect your trading mentalities? So everyone here but Zabs trades full time, as far as I'm aware, and Zabs trades a lot. So I think you're all qualified to answer this question.
Who's going first then?
On you go, Nicola. You're the guest. You go first. Ladies first.
I think for me, when I blew my first account, and this was before I was a full-time trading for myself, and I think most people do that, but it was a really good lesson to me about the psychology of real money and scaling up. And so I really didn't go full-time until I had enough money that I didn't need it for quite a while. So I never was in that, oh my God, this trade has to work because I need the rent position, because I don't think anything makes you trade worse than feeling that. I really think trading is hard enough mentally anyway. And if you can avoid ever being in that position, like I am huge on, I would go to enormous lengths to preserve mental capital so that I'm never in that stressed bad place. And so I would advise anybody, do what I do 2 jobs for as long as it takes, so that you really do, if you're going to do it for yourself and you're self-backed, so that you have that cushion, because you will trade so much better if you do that.
Yeah, so never risk more than you're willing to lose, basically, or you can comfortably lose, essentially.
Completely agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
100%.
On you go then, Kane.
Yeah, trading, I think, especially with Twitter, with how young most of the crowd is and just egos and different things, that there's this romantic, like the view of being a full-time trader is so romantic to so many people here, and it's just awful sometimes if you don't set yourself up correctly. Because I'm in the same vein as you, Nick. I'm very much in here in the Discord and on my Twitter, I'm really nailed down into the psychology aspect of this, because for me, I literally said the same thing that you said earlier. I mean, I could show somebody in here how to trade something profitably in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Could show you this is XYZ, but the psychology behind that is what's going to really determine what's going to happen. You might know that this is something you should do, but if you've taken a hit the past couple of times, or if you do need that money for rent, you're going to be doubting yourself or timid. Like I blew up my first account, but I was in probably the worst place psychologically starting out. I was starting on borrowed money and money that I needed for bills and stuff. And I can attest to that. I have been so hard on myself psychologically from the beginning of stuff that I completely agree. You have to be, above all else, preserving your mental state.
Yeah. All right. That's actually interesting you said that you start trading on board money, because actually quite a lot of I'm not going to say, well, quite a lot of people I've seen on Twitter, like crypto OGs. I mean, for instance, the dog, he said he started trading. He initially bought Bitcoin with a loan, and obviously it worked out crazy well for him and stuff like that. But obviously, I mean, and he says never do that. It's a terrible idea. But I thought it was nuts to see there's like one or two kind of OGs out there who did actually start with loans to buy Bitcoin. And obviously, if you bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin when it was $6 each, then you're laughing and you don't give a rat's arse about the bank loan. But it's crazy to see people do that. All right, Mr. Turnip.
Thing is, though, this market's like the .com. Like, people think they're geniuses because they can just buy and it went up, and it's only like the last 4 months that people are really realizing that maybe it's not quite. Yeah, exactly.
And you've seen that on Twitter. You've seen like the sentiment and just how people have been acting. You can tell from just reading through and just feeling the market on Twitter, especially, how people are learning. Oh, I'm not fucking the shit.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a difference between capitulating because because it's going down and you want to, keep as much of your capital as possible, but it's completely different when somebody has like a huge loan to pay back, realizing that if it goes down anymore, they're never going to be able to afford to pay it back.
Yeah.
Taking out loans for this is the worst idea. Yeah. And if it works out for somebody, good job. You won the fucking lottery. But I wouldn't become a full-time trader until you can probably live a couple months and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
I would say a year.
Because
it's easy to see people on Twitter. It's easy to see people on Twitter saying, "Oh yeah, like I wouldn't recommend this." But back in 2013, like I opened a loan and bought Bitcoin. There'll be more people.
Okay, but that was like
that did
taking out a loan and putting everything on black.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But my point is that they're here to tell the story because they're the 1% that got through. But there is also 99% people who are not, who didn't make it and, aren't on crypto Twitter because it went so badly for them that they probably don't even want to have anything to do with it anymore. But yeah, so Turnip, you how long ago did you become a full-time trader?
About a year and a half ago, I want to say.
Okay. And
maybe a little bit less.
How did it
full-time?
How did it affect?
Actually, less actually. Like I'd say 7 months. 7 months, yeah.
All right, so you were still working this time last year?
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay.
I wanted to quit. Trust me, I wanted to, because it's like you have that fuck you money that you're like, oh, I could stick it to my boss and I don't have to come back. I can walk out right now. And you kind of get it kind of gets to your head a bit. You kind of get a little, not cocky, but you have that power to leave, right?
Yeah.
But there's that thing in the back of your head that you need to remember that tomorrow, this could literally turn around. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, with these Bart Simpsons, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Yeah. But I don't recommend it until you can live a pretty long time with not having to worry, because you're going to trade like an absolute degen if you're trying to make rent and it's 3 days. In 3 days, you have to make rent. You're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never a good situation to be in somewhere. You need to have like a cushion.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We get this question a lot in the Discord and stuff, and I've said it too. Is like, I still have real estate. I still have a steady, residual income flow. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, honestly, people have asked this question, and I said the first thing I say is, fucking just get a better income stream beforehand, because like the psychology, when you're stressed, and you won't even know it, like it's this very subconscious thing that will catch you up. And I think that because there's just this too romantic of an idea of full-time trading, that people just don't fully understand like the gravity of what you feel when you're in a position or you have to trade to make money for rent, bills, and stuff.
All right, okay. And Flood, what about yourself? Did that ever affect you when you went full-time trading?
I mean, honestly, no. I always knew that I could potentially return to something similar to what I was doing before. I mean, having work experience is the most important thing in that sector. Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather, but what I would recommend for people who want to take trading full time is be realistic with yourself. If you're not a profitable trader, just because you start doing it full time doesn't mean that, you're going to become a profitable trader just because you're focusing your entire attention and mental capacity on it. I would argue that, what's better for most people is to do really, really long-term trades, which is what most professional traders do. Most traders do not trade intraday. Intraday is one of the biggest lies that, most trading gurus and people will tell you, is that very, very, very few people are profitable with intraday trades. What I would recommend people to do is keep your job and then use your savings or whatever you will put aside because now you're interested in trading and invest or take really long-term trades. Take, 3 to 6 month time frame trades rather than, oh, one day, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy like, Raven coin and it's going to go up. Like, no, 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 no. Seriously,
Yeah, you're really shilling Raven coin again.
And it'll inspire you to save more, which I think a lot of people struggle with because they have no incentive to, I mean, humans are very quick to, spend things that they feel like they've earned, right? I mean, if you work, it's I don't own any Raven coin, just as an aside. But
anymore.
No, but I think investing is a much better route to go rather than trying to punt on BitMEX. And people don't realize that, professional traders have a lot of capital to work with. So if I'm off by, say, 1 or 2% for my entry, I'm not leveraged. I'm at, 0.2 times leverage most likely. That means I'm using, like 20% of my account for Nick, who doesn't trade on Max. So, I have a lot of room for error. And people who start trading with, $2,000, $3,000 and they expect to make it and they want to, use insane leverage because making $5 to $10 every trade isn't, productive. And I agree. So that's why I always recommend people like try longer term trades, do more research with your free time and keep your job. That way you have a sense of security to fall back on in case your coin goes to zero. And, in case you do make it and you do make a lot of money, then you can consider, trading full time. So that would be my advice. And I mean that seriously. I would not recommend anyone to quit their job for a speculative market, no matter how much you believe in Bitcoin.
I completely agree. Or learn to trade the daily chart, because if you learn to trade the daily chart, then you only need to look at it once a day and plan and manage your trades. And not only that, but then you learn a skill. Like say you make, become really a Bitcoin billionaire. In the future, you might want to reinvest it into something else. You don't want to give it to somebody else. You've made it yourself. You don't want to give it to somebody else to manage for you. So, if you can learn that skill, then you can invest it in all sorts of other things. So stocks, whatever.
All right. Zabs, have you got anything to round us off with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with Flood and Nick's on this point. I think that the biggest issue, especially with guys coming into like the crypto scene, because before I don't know how to call it, like the FX market was like this get rich quick type of market.
Yeah.
And loads of guys would blow their accounts, and it's kind of the same thing with crypto, except now crypto is really generally accessible to so many people.
Yeah.
Like to open an FX account was kind of like, well, not a big deal, but I mean, you'd really think 3 times about, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? Where crypto kind of almost feels like it's fake money. So you kind of.
And then
I'm serious, and
it's a
the
scam.
truth is that everyone thinks that they're gonna, put $1,000 in today, and like tomorrow they're gonna have $30,000. I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't help
the
too.
issue that I think.
that's all you see. That's all you see over Twitter. Like Zaps is right. Like all you see is people posting wins.
I don't think it's even just that. I think a lot of it is from the fact.
I don't think that's just crypto. That's finance.
Yeah.
Really.
But because it's so accessible too. Like you see all these people in this microcosm of the entire market of this crypto Twitter, and oh my God, everybody's winning. I should be too. Like.
I think it also a lot of people fall into the trap of like, you know, you're new to Bitcoin. Let's say you joined in the last like year, and you go on and you see people like CryptoCartel posting pictures of his back garden and what is probably like a multi-million-pound house, and they're like, oh, I can be like him too. Like he didn't start with any money, and like but he also bought Bitcoin. Like, you know, like Nick said, she bought Bitcoin when it was $6. Even if she just held that until now, or it's, you know, let's say she sold around 15K or whatever, like you don't have to be a great trader to just forget about something for a couple of years and sell, and then you're still rich, like from the crazy gains. A lot of these guys on Twitter, these huge guys, have, even if they weren't great traders, even if they've just like, you know, let's say survived, even if they've just held this whole time, like they're still up so much money because they bought Bitcoin when it was just so dirt cheap compared to what it is now. So I think a lot of people fall for that because they're like, oh my God, they got rich super easily. I can do that too. And you're like, yeah, but they're not trading 15-minute candles on 100x.
But Hodem, even them to have held it all the way. I mean,
that's a skill in itself. I'm not denying that. Like, I'm in
so if only I'd have held it.
Yeah, if I was Nickel and I bought $6, I probably would have sold. Like, I don't even know if I could have made it to $200. I probably would have sold it like 50. Just because I would have been so excited.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, suppose obviously that your background in finance and stuff will have helped you with something like that, Nicola. And you know, like we.
To be honest, this is gonna sound a bit stupid, but I put them away and kind of forgot about them. Like I really wasn't looking at the Bitcoin price every day.
Forgotten Bitcoins are the best Bitcoins.
So yeah. So
right, okay.
And then all of a sudden, everyone at work was talking about God. You know, so
okay, so moving on from trading full time, Nick, you're dubbed the Fib Queen, and you said earlier on you trade a lot of Fibonacci stuff that maybe no one else had read or whatever. What is it about Fibonacci that drew you to it, and what is your favorite way of using Is it just a standard Fibonacci retracement, or are you like a crazy Fibonacci spirals kind of gal?
No. My favorite way of using Fibonacci is for targets. I think targets, setting targets, if people put as much effort into exits of their trades as they put into their entries, they'd probably be much more profitable. And so I find Fibonacci absolutely brilliant for that. And I look for confluence and I look for big fib ratio numbers. So, when I say big fib ratio numbers, I mean, 4.236, 6.854, 11, 17, 29, and so on, and I use them for projection.
Okay.
So I use corrections and project from them, and they kind of, when they all line up, I get excited. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So
and I also use, like, one of my favorite retraces is a 886.886 retrace.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which works a lot. So I suppose I use different numbers, but mostly for profit, for taking profit and setting targets. Yeah. Okay. Especially in crypto, when you've got coins that are, at new highs where they've never been before, I find they're really useful for calculating exit points.
Okay, so would you say that Fibonacci works better in cryptocurrency than it does in other markets? Or it's more.
I find that it works really well in crypto markets, but every now and then you'll find a coin where it doesn't work, and then no matter how many you put it on, it doesn't work. And it happens like that in some FX pairs and some stocks. Some of them work brilliantly, and some of them just don't work. And if they don't work, they don't work.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, and so you don't trade any crazy fibs. You just fib extensions, fib retracements. Nothing crazy at all.
No, I mean, I suppose I first got into it with like harmonic pattern, and that's where you're looking for basically confluence. So a harmonic pattern is just identifying reversal levels where a retracement and a projection and a measured move line up in the same place.
Okay.
And so I kind of got into it so I got into harmonic patterns when nobody was looking at them, and now everybody's doing them. It's kind of like, oh, so
yeah, they've had their place in the crypto Twitter meme shell.
Yeah, they really have, and they do work well, but really they are just a Fibonacci retrace level where a bunch of other stuff lines up. That's all they are.
Right, okay. Cool, right, okay. Does it I think the only one who uses fibs here is Kane. I might be wrong. I think Kane's the only one that uses them, and he uses them in ways that probably make you want to put bleach in your eyes. So we'll cover that. Plus, he's at the toilet just now, so we'll just go on to the next question.
I think in a lot of other markets they work. It's funny how they work so well in crypto, and it must be because other people are looking at them.
Yeah.
And I used to think that in other markets they work, because when you think like so much of futures markets are now traded by algorithms and they're programmed by somebody. And I'm not talking about high-speed trading. I'm talking just about regular system algorithmic stuff. And they're calculated using mathematics. They're not programmed to be random. And so somebody's using them. And then I went to work at a hedge fund, and I realized there are guys that literally spend all day scanning forums and for strategies and then programming them to see if they're profitable or not. And that's where it comes from. So,
Yeah, so when you were at trading funds, did you see a lot of kind of software developers generating trading not trading patterns, but trading strategy? Was there a lot of that even then?
Oh, loads of it. Yeah, even more, because most guys don't want to learn or their own strategy. They'll just endlessly
copy and paste
program them and backtest them. Is it profitable or not? So much of it is computer, not
I mean, that's
human.
something that Flood's talked quite a lot about, is how he reckons that the Bitcoin markets will change as more and more institutions get involved, and you see a lot more algorithms take over the market. Like, you could say that this BART price action is, as it's being called, is due to like one, maybe two algorithms or whatever. And there was he did a post on the momentum ignition algorithm, I think he called it, or I think it's called, should I say. So
then I think people will have to adapt, and what you see more and more, certainly when it happened in other markets, is you'll learn to trade pattern failures as much as patterns. So say if you're a candlestick trader and you trade a bullish engulfing pattern or candlestick patterns, what you'll learn is if that pattern fails, that's just as good a trade as the pattern working, because that's what the algos are doing against you.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
Yep.
Okay. So
I've actually started doing that quite a bit. So on Finex, especially on the 3 hour, there's been so many swing high and swing low failures, and I'm actually, starting to trade the failures.
Right. Okay. So you basically, everyone's looking for a swing high, starts to break down, or vice versa, and then you short based on that kind of thing. You're looking to counter trade almost the sentiment at that point, because everyone's looking for a swing high and everyone's like, pump it Bitcoin.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To the moon.
Big time.
Pamp it.
Pump it.
Oh no,
I haven't heard that before.
Just personally, everybody, hates the BART, and of course we've had this lovely little intervention for me with my low time frame intraday, high leverage scalping. But exactly what Nick, you just said, all the pattern failure on this, for me, it's refined my scalping on Max, because we do see this so many times, and you go back and this happens. I know that XYZ has happened so many other times. It's actually been a really good learning experience to have put this into a knowledge base of when we get into this frame of price action, because it's very easy to see when we transition into I should switch to this strategy. It's been great learning experience.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so it's very similar to the kind of price action we had in March, early April. That 2 weeks of BART chop between 7.5 and 6.5.
And 6.5, yeah. Yep.
So who knows? Maybe it'll end the exact same way with a 2K green candle that liquidates all the bears and puts them in disbelief.
What that happened last time?
That's what I believe.
What is that? What happened last time? Turnip, you called the bomb. You should
Oh,
know
yeah.
this. Oh yeah.
I'm so tired of this BART bullshit. It's
Yeah.
just annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
It makes it not fun.
Yeah.
Like trading is fun. This shit is not fun. Even if I was winning, it's not fun.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, Nick, do you see this as, because this is the question that everybody is always asking, do you see this as reaccumulation or distribution?
I see this as accumulation, and a lot of people I'm talking to, like, there seems to be a lot of buying over the counter going on at the moment. So it is accumulation, but is it enough to get us out of this sideways range and turn it around and go higher? I don't know, because that's what's going to bring the outside money back in. People have got out because they've got burnt, and only price going up again is really going to get people back in. So there are that many fundamentals in crypto. Price going up is a good one. So
It's like the only one.
I know.
Technology.
I know, you could read all the white papers you want, but is it going up? That's it, really, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Okay.
That's always the joke. And people, like, the more I've gotten into crypto the last, year and a half, almost 2 years now, I would always see, like, the OGs posting, scams pump the hardest, and it's so true. Like, literally, price going up is it.
Hello?
Hello?
Did we lose you?
Yeah, no,
Hello?
you're back.
Heard him.
Okay.
He's so true. I was so snotty about Ripple last year. I'm like, I missed the biggest trade in Ripple because I was so snotty about it. So I'm not doing that again.
Oh, that's what, like, or Bitcoin Cash now. Like, people, I treated Bitcoin Cash this year the same way I did Ripple, and we get down to these ranges and these lows, and you see, Maximalist and other people on Twitter just, like, ramp up the hate, and I'm like, okay, this is a good indicator right now.
The thing is, the problem hasn't gone away in Bitcoin, and I suppose that, I don't know, we don't really know who's going to win. Bitcoin Cash could, and when you think about it, all the people that bought Bitcoin more than a year ago, they all have Bitcoin Cash too, because they haven't touched it. So
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
straight away.
I've got a good question for you next. There's always been this debate on Twitter whether you're trading for USD or whether you're trading for more BTC.
Whether I'm trading for USD or what?
How do you regard your
more
profits?
USD or more BTC?
Yeah,
How do I regard my profits?
yeah. In US dollar value or pound value, or do you think about just accumulating more Bitcoin?
I think of them in terms of big round Bitcoins, like most people, because, like, everything I'm trading that's not Bitcoin, that's pretty much how it's calculated. But yeah, no. So yeah, no, I do always check what my portfolio is worth in US dollar. I try not to check it too often, but I don't want to get sucked into the psychological swings,
Yeah.
I want to look at the chart and whether I'm right or wrong rather than trading my
So
P&L.
when you take a trade on an alt, are you looking at gaining more BTC, or are you looking at or are you looking at, like, growing your portfolio in the US?
I don't know. I'm looking at making cold hard fiat. Yes. Yeah, no, but I suppose I'm a bit weird because you'll never see me with posting a picture of my Lambo, or I've set up the way I'm trading, that I'm trading through a company. So my partner and I trade through a company, and they had this funky law in the UK that if you, as a business, make a lot of money and you don't take that money out of the company until you close the company down, then you only have to pay 10% tax on it. So we set up.
When I moved to the UK.
So we set up our crypto trading through a company. So we never take the money out. So it might, we're ultimate hodlers, although we're probably hodling in GBP quite a lot of the time, when we're dodging bullets. But we don't tend to, actually. We tend to hodl and then just hedge it by shorting it, 1 to 1.
Okay.
So.
And do you trade with leverage when I know you said you use Finex, but do you use 3x leverage or do you just trade spot on Finex?
I sometimes use 3x leverage. Yeah, sometimes, but most of the time just spot. No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you in a position on Bitcoin right now?
I'm long Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm long Bitcoin with an average price of about 7,200. So.
Okay, so still holding from the bottom there.
So
yeah,
if I can, going off of Zab's question a little bit. It's been speculated. It's pretty much guaranteed, in my opinion. But fiat pairs for most of the altcoins should be coming to exchanges, late Q2, Q3 this year. It's kind of the last thing that the exchanges can do to stay competitive with each other. And then you add in fiat wiring to all these exchanges, so it's very easy and accessible for a lot of people to get money on exchanges and trade alts.
Okay, that's going to be such a game changer. That's going to be because I heard Zab say earlier about how easy it is to trade crypto compared to FX. I think it's completely different. I think in the UK, like, you can open an FX account in a flash, put fiat in, make a bunch of money, and an hour later you can withdraw the money and spend it. Like, you absolutely can't do that in crypto at all. It's really difficult. I think it's so difficult to go from fiat to crypto. And when that happens, it'll be a game changer. Say again?
Yeah, I said that's probably also me coming from South Africa. So I mean, if I want to trade FX, I've actually got to open a no-wonder account, and I've got to actually get money to the UK or to the US.
Well, there's the know your customer rule as well. So you have to show them your passport stuff. But in terms of, if you getting money in and out, like, it's a flash. It's done.
Oh yeah, no, that's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was curious on your opinion on that, because like the guys in the Discord know me. I talk a lot about psychology and I talk a lot about just like overall macro, sentiment and trends. And I've been super bullish on that since the beginning of the year. I mean, because you're going to have people that come in. I use the example, like when Bitcoin was, going up in November. I had a lot of people that have, shit talked to me in real life, messaging me, Facebook messages, how do I, buy Bitcoin? And 9 out of the 10 people, along with asking about Bitcoin, would be, where can I buy Ripple? I'm like, okay,
Ripple.
Why? Like, why? Two things happen. Like, why the fuck you want to buy Ripple? Because it's cheap. And why you're asking me? Because I don't know where to buy it. Cool. Well, 2 things happen there. I got this framework in mind, and we get USD pairs for these alts. Joe down the street doesn't know what 2,000 Satoshis fucking means, but he knows he sees something at 15 cents that if this goes up, I'm going to make a lot of money, because that's how people in general think. And so that at that point, I think I reallocated my alt portfolio to like 65% Ripple when it was like 30 cents. So everybody's going to come in and this is going to be stupid. And so when you have fiat pairs with, direct wires to the exchanges, I fully believe it's going to be a game changer for a lot of things.
Do you think there'll be any alts that have higher volume with US dollar pairings than their BTC pairings?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, because there's such limited supply. Like, half of the reason they've gone up so much is there just wasn't enough for the interest.
Yeah.
So when it's easier, like, it's just going to be better. So, well, for us anyway.
Thank you to the fan for hosting us. 34 viewers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Turnip, do you have anything to add about altcoin USD pairings?
Yeah, when the hell are they coming? Because I'm getting tired of this Bitcoin bullshit. At least it gives me like, a separation between the two. Just because even if an altcoin does something great, right? Say they actually are not a shitcoin, not a scam. They're making stuff that actually matters. Like, there's no reason for that to go down because Bitcoin takes a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I don't care if it's the grandfather. I'm ready to MySpace this shit out of here and let some Facebook come in.
Yeah.
Because
a decoupling.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, and it's not necessary anymore.
Right, okay. Nicola, do you see a decoupling
Coinbase,
coming?
save us.
Coinbase, save us.
Do I see what? Sorry.
Do you see a decoupling? As in, do you think that alts will reach a point where they're not as dependent on Bitcoin price? Like if Bitcoin
Definitely.
dumps, alts dump, and if Bitcoin pumps,
I can see a flippening too. So yeah,
Right,
definitely.
okay.
Please.
Do you think it would be
Bring the flippening.
Do you
Yeah.
mean the ETH flippening, or do you mean a Bitcoin Cash flippening, or something else?
I'm not sure it will be Ethereum. I don't know. I could see it, but
I hope it's Ripple. That'd be funny.
that would be so bad. Oh my
Can
god.
you imagine?
I just want it because I want it to be I
can't even imagine one.
I don't even care if I own
I'm
Ripple at that time.
speechless.
That would be so crazy. All
Yeah.
right, okay. Zabs.
I want to see Bitcoin maxis capitulate and buy Ripple.
For me,
Adapt or die. You know what? Bitcoin has to do it. Adapt or die.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's up, Zabs?
Well, for me, what's quite nice in South Africa, and this is now different to the FX thing. So where I have issues getting into FX. Okay, getting out of FX is very easy, but getting into FX for me, it's always a bit of an issue doing international transfers and that type of.
Yeah.
What's nice for me is that our local exchanges are all fiat. So we've got 4 local exchanges, and I mean, there's no such thing as tether. So they do.
Do you mean that in the broader
only
sense
big
of the world, or
issue-
you just mean that in South Africa?
All those FX brokers offering Bitcoin and Ethereum now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing a
That's-
lot more
and that's
adoption.
what's. Yeah, man. I definitely see that there's going to be a huge interest in it, but it's going to need to, make the headlines again, and not headlines that are like coins crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Flood, are you here? Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin Maximalist.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think
Boo.
anything will ever replace Bitcoin.
Boo.
But market cap is pretty irrelevant, especially when so many
That's true.
altcoins are illiquid. So I mean, I can just
Yeah.
on a zero fee exchange, I can just wash trade an alt up to
Raven
number
coin.
1 market cap, and no one can stop me. But does that make it more liquid? Does that make it a better coin? Will it give it more relevance? No,
Okay.
not at all. So I don't think anything will ever have the brand recognition that Bitcoin has. I mean, a lot of people know Bitcoin, but they don't know what Ethereum is. They don't know what Ripple is.
Not yet.
So, yeah, sure, not yet, of course, but I think it'll take a very long time for that to change.
Right, okay.
No.
Okay.
Everyone was like, I'm on MySpace. And then Facebook came out. And only a few people are on Facebook because it was only colleges. So it's almost like the same thing.
Okay. And to riff off of flippening discussions and markup discussions, obviously Flood made a call, 40k Bitcoin by end of year. I think it was February you made the call, and you still haven't taken that out of your Discord name. And we talked about, do you think 40k is doable this year? It's coming up on June now. What about, do you think we will revisit 20k, and do you think we will set a new all-time high on Bitcoin this year? Nicola, what do you think?
I do, and I think probably the back end of the year and 29k.
Right, okay. 29k, okay. And when do you think the bull run's impending, or do you think it's going to be like last year when it was like November and December, it just took the cake and just went crazy?
I'm going to say that I think it's really important what happens here, and that we'll know quite soon. It's kind of like this month is pretty much the decider for me. If we don't get going, then no, I think we're going to go sideways for a year.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, this month.
consolidation, flat year, and then hopefully
Yeah.
crazy year next year to make up for the...
Like the way I'm counting stuff, it looks like 5 waves up and 3 waves back. Like just from the lows that we made 2 days ago, or we look like 5 waves up, 3 back. I don't want to get too excited, but I'm kind of going, we could just do it from here. Let's do it.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So
Also, what's nice about trading on Finex and trading spot and only 3x leverage is that if I do actually sell my Bitcoin, I can use just like a 3x leverage to hedge my position. So I'm actually hoping that we go sideways for a year because I want to really accumulate a lot more.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. Sorry, Zabs, go ahead.
Everyone, when you make a call on Twitter or you make a call in the group, everyone's like, yeah, I don't know, like I'm making a call and I'm literally like letting the trade go for like a week or I already kind of know like where I'm going to get out of the trade. But yeah, for me, I hope that it goes sideways for another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, because I'm going to accumulate a lot more Bitcoin.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And do you think if we chop like this for the next couple months, where we were seeing like quite strong pumps, like really couple really strong daily candles. I mean, I think it was like 4 weekly candles closed green, and then we kind of grind up and then we slowly, we very fast neck right down. And it destroys altcoins. I mean, altcoins have been destroyed a lot the last couple of weeks after having like a mini alt season. Do you think we'll see more another alt season, another alt cycle this year?
I'm with Nicola, like the late year time frame.
Do you think they'll continue on from Bitcoin?
I'm not. Yeah, summertime, late summer, late like fall. But I'm more concerned with the fiat pairing, ease of getting money onto exchanges for the mass public.
Yeah.
The longer the chop on Bitcoin, the more bullish I am when we actually do go up. I mean, it's kind of what Nick said earlier about OTC demand. I know some OTC deals in the past month, and it's not like an OTC deal of a miner to an exchange. It's a new interested party, and the sizes of these deals, like there are people buying here large amounts for long term, and they are people though that could sustain, like they don't give a fuck if we go down to 3K, but the fact that they're interested now tells me something. So that with just everything that's come out for the exchanges, the Binance move to Malta, different things for KYC and just projects and all these different things, the different firms that we see coming out who last year said, oh, Bitcoin's a scam. Well, yeah, that's when you guys have been in this for years, but it's like everything in 2017 was an institutional pump and dump to get, all of the people in general excited about it so that they can make their money right now when everybody gets all butthurt about it. And then we really, really go sometime later on.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to zero.
If only that Mt. Gox guy would sell his over the counter, that would be good. You'd think a bank would want a bunch of them and make him an offer, wouldn't you? I don't get it.
He panicked.
Like if you wanted to control the supply, if you were JP Morgan or whatever, like wouldn't you go to him and just buy them?
I laugh.
Maybe I'm thinking that out loud.
No, I laugh when people are concerned about that number of coins is like OTC, when like some of the deals that I've heard about in just the last 2 weeks are 2 to 3 times that. Like
I've heard that too.
Yeah, people get so fucking concerned about that.
Yeah,
and there's more important things.
I think the problem is that, like you said, if he's not doing it OTC, so he's selling it in the market.
If he's dumping them on an exchange, of course, it moves the price. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas you could, and you're right. Like
idiot.
I'm sure he's
what an idiot. Like, can't he join local Bitcoins? Come on.
Exchange it all for Monero, and the feds will never find out. Okay, so
I should be doing this when I've been drinking. Big mistake.
No, we want to hear stuff like this. That's what makes it interesting. I mean, you've been a lot more concise than Cred was after a couple of beers. Did you watch? Have you watched any of our podcasts, Nicola? Did you watch them all with me?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've listened to them. Yeah, I listened to that when I was listening so it's cool. They've all been really good.
I'm gonna get a DM from Cred in a second, tell me off. But yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So we do think another all-time high this year, and if well, either consolidation or all-time high. Do you think it's not going to be an extended bear market? You know, the 2014 fractals.
I don't anymore.
Can go in the cupboard for another year or two.
I think you double top at 20K.
I think you double.
Bye.
I thought Cred was really smart. You know, if I needed a lawyer,
Yeah.
Cred likes to use big words to confuse people, and it always works.
I was so amazed how consistent it was, that vocabulary was.
Yeah, okay. Cool. And okay, so moving on. There's one about trading principles, but I think we've kind of already touched on stuff like that. It was like, you know, the mental aspect of going full time.
Mm-hmm.
So mentors have been brought up quite a lot this podcast, and Nicola, you know, you said basically owe a lot of your knowledge to a mentor. So what is the most interesting or useful thing another trader has taught you? Zabs, do you want to take this one away?
You know, I actually, one of my previous bosses, I mean, they did pretty much all of the rice in West Africa. So what came about there, what that was quite interesting was that there was commodities, and then obviously we needed FX to buy these commodities. So it wasn't so much what he actually taught you as a trader. It was actually more about what he taught you, you know, about the environment that you're trading in. So yeah, it actually gives you almost like a broader sense of the reason, you know, why you're doing X, Y, and Z, is so that you can actually, you know, save money or potentially make extra money so that you could probably buy more commodities. So we actually, we were only about seven traders. But, you know, the mentorship side of things was more like Nick said, was more the psychology behind it and almost the reason to why you're doing it. So, you know, it wasn't just
explain your reasoning.
Get in there and try and make money, you know?
Yeah, okay. And Nicola, I mean, was there anything your mentor taught you that stood out beyond everything else? Ooh, Nicola might be AFK. It's Kane. Fill her in.
I'm sitting here, I'm just trying to think of one because there were so many. I would say probably the...
On you go, sorry.
Sorry. Oh. I would say probably the top 3 things he taught me was having an exit strategy is as important as your entry strategy. When you put your trade on, don't fiddle with it. So you put your trade on, you say this is where my stop is and this is where I'm wrong. And it either wins or loses. I see too many people go, oh, it's going wrong. It's coming back on me. I'm going to get out. No, it's just, you know, rubbish trading. And everybody feels like that when they start, but get a grip. And
yeah, I mean,
I think the most important thing he taught to me was if I had a really bad day trading, but I had executed my strategy perfectly, that I should do something nice, cheer myself up, because there's nothing you can do. Some days the market just doesn't work for you, even when you do everything right.
Right. Okay. And I mean, that's something we've talked about before quite a lot on these podcasts, is like having automated trades, you know, like where you're getting into a position where you've got a stop loss and you've got to take profits and maybe hedges and places to close your position, and you're just letting it go and just, you know, relaxing and not over analyzing it every second. So it's cool to see you do the same thing. Floods, I mean,
I think when you start, it's really important to do that because, you know, you can become more of a gut feel trader later on if you want, but it's quite important to have a system and a plan and stick to it when you start.
All right, okay. And Flood, I mean, did you have a mentor when you first came? I know you obviously kind of came here.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of trading, most important thing that I've been taught trading wise is probably either to hedge. I mean, just the aspect of hedging, kind of risk management, is overlooked, because I was reading it somewhere, I can't remember where, but someone was talking about how trading is like running a business, And, you know, if you lose all your assets, there goes your business. So you know, you need to do everything possible to protect your assets, right? You need to do everything possible to make sure that you're risking only what you're comfortable with and risking only what is applicable or is safe for your business. So, you know, because with trading, there are no refunds. If you lose everything, it's game over. So yeah, that's what I would say. Risk management, and especially in terms of, you know, just because Bitcoin is so volatile, you have so many options to hedge. You have so many entries. So that's what I would say.
Right. Okay. And Turn Up, did you have any mentors when you started trading, or were you just kind of like I'm gonna draw a triangle on this bad boy and short it? See, let's do it.
I love triangles. Everybody knows that. Not really. I mean, I had a bunch of people that I traded with, and I kind of just picked it up as I went along.
Yeah, I mean,
you kind of figure out really quickly whether stuff works and when it doesn't.
Right. Okay. So just a very big gut feels kind of guy off your own back.
Yeah, I mean, being a bear originally, I kind of was a bull as far as the market goes, and just kind of charged right in and kind of figured it out.
Nice.
Dangerous way to go in, but hey, it worked out for me.
It's just not financial advice. Okay, Kane.
I see. Mentor wise, I kind of have some people that I really talk to a lot now. But for me, it's more just like I'm constantly studying. I'm a year and a half, 2 years into this. I'm profitable, but I'm still spending 4 to 8 hours a day studying. Like honestly, and people might find that excessive or too much, but like I'm still doing that, and just it's studying in the sense that I relearn things over and over. I'll go over the same topic, the same fucking thing, and write notes and all this stuff day after day after day. So you have to internalize something, not just know it, but know why. And that's for me, that's the mentorship side of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So cool. Okay. So moving on to the next one then. Now I think I know the answer to this question, but it'd be interesting to see. I might be surprised. And we kind of briefly touched on it earlier on when I asked Nicola if she's more exposed to crypto or stocks. I was quite surprised actually to hear that you're more exposed to crypto. But how many of you here hold stocks? And if so, what is your, I mean, do you check them every day? Do you only check them sometimes? Are they buy and hold things? Because obviously you don't see anywhere near as much volatility in the stock market as you do in cryptocurrency. And do you actively trade them, or are they just, like Flood said, are they just hedges? Are they just are you just protecting your folio? So Flood, king of finance, or Nicola, since you two are the.
I'm probably 80% invested in crypto, although I'm not all in at the moment, obviously.
80%, that's pretty crazy actually. I honestly I was shocked to hear you say you were mostly crypto exposed, but 80%, that's really surprising.
Not exposed. I mean, I would say
No.
of my investment resources, I commit about 80% to crypto just because the returns are better, and I'm about 20% in stocks. And right now, I'm probably 1/3 invested, sitting on the sidelines with the rest.
Okay, and do you play like just mainly the big stocks? Are you just holding them? Do you actively trade them?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I trade the UK penny AIM stocks. They trade just like crypto currencies, and you can get a 10 bagger in AIM stocks, and they trade really well technically as well.
All right. Okay.
So, yeah, and I tend to like swing trade them on a daily chart. So. And what they do, they make the same patterns that crypto do, when they accumulate and they go sideways and they'll bunch up and then off they go. So,
right, okay. So
it's very similar.
Penny stocks in the UK market, that's interesting.
Like AIM stocks, yeah.
AIM stocks, right, okay. Wolf of Wall Street kind of thing. Okay. I mean, Kane, do you hold any? I know you're obviously in the estate agents. Sorry, well, you're in the housing markets and stuff. But do you hold stocks?
No, I'm
Pretty much
100% of
crypto.
my personal investing capital in crypto.
Right. Okay. Do you ever plan on getting into stocks?
No. I mean, I like to take my strategies and what I've learned and taught myself and apply it to traditional markets. Like I'll paper trade certain things just on the side just to see how it pans out. And I've enjoyed that. But as far as actual money, I personally see no fucking point after what can be done in crypto to reallocate that money to a less volatile asset at the time.
He'll change his mind when crypto goes to zero.
I mean, I have real estate. I consider that's an investment with my my business partner. But yeah, stocks it's just like fun to watch. That's it.
Okay. Turn up. Do you hold any stocks?
Nope. But if I ever had to, I would. I really wanted to short the Dow like twice, and my meme triangles were pretty spot on. But I don't know. I'm gonna see. I might short the Dow pretty soon. While the U.S. rolls into a recession, I'm making money. Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That feels like Bitcoin at 20K. That makes me excited.
That's why I love shorting Bitcoin so much.
Yep.
Everyone's freaking out. Now I'm like,
I flooded you recovered.
Yeah, but then I get to watch it while I walk through the streets.
Yep.
Nicola, if you haven't guessed, Turn Up literally just trades off of memes, and yeah, he's bloody good at it. So he just shit talks the whole time. It's great. He's our resident triangle expert. Flood, have you recovered from your coughing fit? Are you ready to rock and roll?
I mean, for me, I've been mostly in cash since Bitcoin hit 13K to the upside, and I liquidated quite a bit of my stock holdings. So I've been waiting for a capitulation, maybe anything below 5K. I'll definitely start going back into majority crypto, but I haven't been in majority crypto for a while. I mean, I sold quite a bit of my spot holdings to the upside of 10K. Like that was one of my targets, kind of where I told myself, you know, like regardless of what's happening, you're gonna cash out at least 50%, just because.
Yeah, I mean, just take the profits.
It helps you sleep. I mean, and I don't know how, you know, I don't know how much people have in crypto, but I can't really sleep having a lot of my net worth in a, I mean, I don't know. I don't like having a lot of my net worth in a very volatile asset. So I just think for mental health wise, it's definitely important to to have your assets allocated to where you feel comfortable and whatever your risk tolerance is. But a lot of people don't really think about that, nor do they want to ever, you know, entertain the fact that maybe it will just go down for a couple of years. So that's always something to consider.
Did you take any of that money and put it into stocks, or I know you?
No, I don't think now's a particularly good time to get into the stock market either. I mean, you know, I've been out of that game for a while. I haven't really been paying attention too closely. I mean, I do watch, you know, CNBC when I wake up in the morning for like 10 minutes just to see what's going on. But for me, I mean, I think now is a great time to be positioned in cash. I mean, dollar has been rallying quite a bit. So
fiat's king for now.
I'll probably be majority in cash for this entire year or until we break 5K. Not that I think that's really likely or that will ever happen, but you know, for now I'm happy in cash. So it's gonna stay that way until otherwise.
If let's say we don't go below 5K, let's just say theoretically the bottom is in for Bitcoin for this year, would you still rebuy at a certain point? Or if we are you saying like I'm not going back in with this cash until we get below 5K?
Well, at that point, I mean, so let's say we just kind of break 10K again. Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather, but okay, if we don't go below 5K and we just skyrocket all the way up to, let's say, 15, I think I'd start looking probably maybe for altcoins at that point, because again, you don't really want to buy Bitcoin up at $15,000 either. So I'd probably look for, I'd probably actually focus on stocks if I kind of miss this Bitcoin run with a lot of my cash that I have on the sidelines.
Sure.
And that'll, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, right?
Yeah,
And with
'cause it's
this,
gonna change
it's
your
always
plan.
good to have cash in the bank as well, regardless, just for other investment opportunities, whether you want to look into, investing in companies or potentially, even donating to charities and stuff like that. So it also depends on how much you're working with. But for me, I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I have in crypto right now. I definitely wish I had more Ethereum. I actually am majority in Ethereum right now, and I have been for quite a while. But I don't know. That's a difficult thing to answer because I can't really I don't know the future, obviously.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's important to just understand what makes the most sense to you and what you think the best course of action is. But always have 20-30% cash, always. I mean, never be 100% in crypto, because you're just going to be kicking yourself if you're all in and then you have no money to buy a dip, right? Or to buy something, or to spread, if you're all tied up in trades or whatever.
Yeah, you can't.
And for the people who are going to freak out about me being majority in Ethereum, it's just been outperforming Bitcoin. So there's nothing I can do about it. I was at like 65, 35, and then just kept buying more Ethereum. And yeah, charity is a tax write-off. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Floods party charity.
Everything Flood just said too goes right back into our talk earlier about full-time trading and having a stable income. Like, that's the other reason that I keep real estate and do work with that as well, to have a fiat income, is so, like, if you didn't cash out anything, which I haven't, you can just buy and add them if we go down. Like, that's the other reason as well.
All right, and Zabs, I mean, round us off. I'm sure when I first started talking to you guys, you were big on your silver and not gold, but I think it was silver. You were talking about accumulating stuff. Do you hold stocks, precious metals, anything like that?
Most of the time, I'm margin trading commodity.
Right. Okay.
And then what's cool about Oando, you can margin trade gold and silver as well. So I mean, I don't really hold anything except I do put a lot of. It's almost like a cycle. So you kind of buy as low as you can, sell as high as you can, and then start something. And I mean, you guys know I'm into the restaurant game, so with most of the money that I do make in crypto, I kind of pump a lot of it into restaurants, and then kind of build a name on the shop. Keep the really good ones and try sell some of the other ones, and then the cycle starts again, and then
Dump
hopefully
your restaurants on people. I like it.
You get a if I do get a sale on a restaurant, I can buy the dip quite big on something that's has dipped.
Yeah. Okay. So when you sell a restaurant, are you
But-
kind of instantly looking to buy a dip? Obviously not like you're not going to instantly within 24 hours buy it, but are you like, okay, I've just sold this restaurant, let's buy some dip?
Yeah.
What kind of dip?
When I say basically, like you'd value each business as an asset. So, if you get a really good deal, I do take it, but that money kind of is on the sideline, and that's what I would buy Bitcoin with. So, like everyone else, I'm probably also only about a third in right now. I did buy quite a lot of OTC, and I did buy on our local exchange at the 6.3 range. Hoping obviously that we're going to get another cycle. But at the same time, also, I mean, you guys know I just built a new shop, so yeah, let's see how this cycle works out. But no, I'm not really into stocks.
All right, okay. Two more quick topics, and then we can actually talk about Bitcoin for a while, and turn up can read really loudly for us.
Why?
Because Bart.
Oh, dude, I hate
Okay,
it.
so this is something Flood talked about on Twitter, and he educated a lot of people by saying, myself, I didn't know that you could do this. But obviously on BitMEX, and I'd imagine it's the same with Finex, you can short 1x leverage, and you're essentially just hedging into synthetic USD, as BitMEX described it in their article about it. And so you're retaining USD value. Do you guys do that when you're taking a break? How often would you consider doing something like Flood said he would do if he's away for a week or two or whatever? Do you guys do that? If you're going away on holiday, or if you're going to take a 2-week break from trading, have you ever hedged a short just to retain value, or do you just hodl?
No, because I'm dumb.
I almost always do, and I was kicking myself when I went to Miami for not doing it. And instead, I just got stopped out of my long. But I just ate the
Jeez.
8% drawdown. But that's okay. I mean, I'm not really trading USD value at this point. I'm kind of just trading for more Bitcoin. I'm not really marking my P&L in Bitcoin. But if I ever open a trading desk or something like that, I'm going to be marking my P&L in BTC. So essentially, or excuse me, in USD.
Ooh,
So,
BTC.
No.
Whenever I'm not trading, I'll kind of have to go into
Yeah.
USD. I really have no choice there. Yeah.
Right, okay. Nicola, what do you do if you're taking a week off or something?
What's the holiday?
Okay.
Since I started my creep, it was beginning of June last year, and I haven't had a week off since then. I'm about to. No, I'm a big fan of hedging. I would definitely do it. I that's what I do when the market's going down. So because I have like 2 books, a long-term book and a short-term trading book. So
Right, okay.
yeah, I would definitely hedge the long-term one.
When you hedge, are you doing it through just spot sales or?
Yeah, a bit Finex.
Bitfinex spot sales. All right, okay, cool. Turnip doesn't
No leverage.
No, okay, no leverage. All right, and Kane, have you ever hedged a short, or do you just short scalp?
Well, up until like actually this month, I've never sold any Bitcoin since I bought. I love to short. I just think it's hilarious making more Bitcoin when Bitcoin's going down, and yeah, I just, I especially the psychological perspective of everybody else is freaking out. That's when it's the most fun to make money, is when everybody else is terrified. So yeah, I've hedged. I've had my short from 9,700, hedging a 9,200 long. But that long is a very, very long time frame in mind. So it started as a fifth of my normal position size. I have averaged down that long to around 86.
Okay.
I had added to my short when we pivoted around 88. So I'm still running, a core long alongside a hedge core short.
If you were going to take a week off trading, or if you were going to go on holiday for a week, would you hedge, or would you just go flat?
Just flat, because I honestly don't give a fuck about the USD value. So if I'm not yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. And Zabs, I'd imagine, knowing you just place lower bids and try and catch the dip. But do you hedge short if you you say you're opening another restaurant, you've just come out of doing one, and you're going to be busy for a couple of weeks? Do you just wait and still buy the dip, or are you hedging?
Obviously it depends on the price action, but Most of the time I'll just set a stop, and then if I get stopped out, then I don't have to worry about anything for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, okay, so no hedging there. Okay, the last topic we've got is if you were on a crypto trading desk, okay, so let's say that you traded for a firm, did full time, and you traded their money, which Bitcoin exchange would you trade Bitcoin on? And you can only pick one, and why? Now, Nicola, I'm sure you're going to say Bitfinex. So I'll rephrase the question as I'll rephrase the question for you as what draws you to Bitfinex over other exchanges?
Like, why would you only pick one when you know what happened at Mt. Gox? Like, I remember in futures when PFT Best went down, and before that, like exchange. Like, I was going to say I would never have all of my, and I don't have all of my assets on one exchange now. Now, I think crypto is a little bit different from futures. In futures, an exchange can go down and the futures price doesn't crash. I think if an exchange goes down in crypto, the confidence is such that it won't matter where your funds are, they're going to go down. But I don't think that I don't think I would have, I just don't think I could do that.
Okay, well, okay. So aside from holding funds solely on that,
but if I did, I probably at the moment I'm about to try BitMEX, and I might decide I love it. But I would probably do Finex at the moment. Yeah.
Just see, there's going to be a box that says Troll.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Bittrex, and I really like Bitstamp.
Right. Okay. So Bitstamp. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I really like Bitstamp.
Okay, but if you were stuck trading, like disregard holding Bitcoin on exchanges and disregard like securities, or no, you can take security into account. But if you were forced to trade Bitcoin, okay, spot Bitcoin or leverage Bitcoin on
just Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I would probably do Bitstamp no leverage rather than Finex.
Oh, really? Okay. And what would be your reasoning for Stamp over Finex? Just because you like the UI more, or?
Security. I really think security is an issue. Okay. Yeah.
And are you saying security because of Tether, or are you saying because of like actual, hacks and such?
Just hacks and just hacks and where they are, and who's.
Okay, cool. Zabs, would you stick with your mighty old Finex?
Yeah. Look, what I really love about Finex, and I mean my securities, I don't want to actually say it because Twitter, someone will probably try.
Yeah.
But Finex, for me, it's really reliable. It's hardly ever down.
That's true. It is good.
Maintenance, which being, trading long-term positions, that's really what you want. I mean, if you look at what happened to MEX 2 days ago,
yeah,
it really freaks me out. Like, I don't really want to hold a lot of money there, because if I do get into quite a large trade and I can't get out of that trade, especially there, I would have actually probably just held my long without having put a stop. And then what happened? I mean, that was just terrible. I know that the risk management was. My risk management there in that trade would have been bad, but at least I could market sell if I was on Finex.
Sure.
But I mean, MEX, half out of 12,000 people in our Discord. I mean, there were a lot of angry guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a lot of anger at BitMEX, quite a lot in our. Our Discord, Nicola, if you don't know, is kind of revolves around BitMEX. If I'd say 90% of the people are mainly BitMEX traders, and there's been a fair few angry users, especially because of the maintenance, and then obviously the overload issue, which is still ongoing. Flood, what about you? You've obviously talked about that you might trade a desk in the future. Would you stay with your beloved BitMEX, or would you use something like Stamp or Finex?
Oh yeah, I would absolutely stay with BitMEX, especially now that funding is so predictable and easily manipulated. I would absolutely stay with BitMEX. I don't know. I think BitMEX, it's never been hacked, so I'm gonna stick with a place that has never taken users' funds either.
Yeah.
There are a lot of problems that I've written about, and BitMEX does have significant exposure to outages with massive moves. But now that the insurance fund has over 7,000 Bitcoin, I'm not really too worried about not being paid
Oh god.
for a trade. That's not a worry of mine. Unless you're trading with, you know, thousands of Bitcoin. Yeah, I think BitMEX is the best place. And then, I'll be very interested to see a lot of these new shitcoin derivative traders or exchanges that are coming out.
Yeah.
So, if I have options on, I don't know, like whatever, I can't even think of any shitcoins off the top of my head, but
Raven.
no, Raven coin. Yeah, I mean, not that, but if I have options on like Zcash or something and I can get a nice spread, that'll be great. I really look forward to that, and I'll give them some of my business. But
Yeah.
I mean, I do trade size, so liquidity is very important to me.
Okay.
For smaller traders, they definitely don't really have to worry about that, but I do. So yeah, but for now, BitMEX all the way. Shout out to Arthur and his Lambos that he
Yeah.
rented, but regardless.
I think the pinnacle
That was
for this
was a fun-
podcast will
fun
be
play.
getting Arthur Hayes on the podcast. We need
Oh,
to
yeah.
we need to suck up to Gaius enough until he finally capitulates. And
He's a smart guy, Arthur Hayes. I
Yeah.
must.
have you
Yeah.
have you met him
He
before,
is.
Nicola? Have you spoken to him?
He's trolling
Once.
as fuck.
Once, okay, that's cool. And was that like a Bitcoin convention? Did you say it to his face at the Bitcoin convention?
No, just once.
Okay. Turn up, if you were going to trade a desk, would you stay with the beloved BitMEX, or are you going to be a Finex convert?
I want GDAX to freaking have leverage.
Oh yeah,
I want him to bring it back
Yeah. You were a GDAX
to protect me, with 200K for the FDIC. That's
No.
I mean,
Remember
that's
that-
amazing.
That turned out to be bullshit. Remember, someone called you out on stream for that?
No. If it's in USD, it's fine. If it's in Bitcoin, it's
Ah.
not. So if I'm converting my P&L obviously all to fiat at the end of the day, then I mean that's amazing to have
Yeah.
$200,000 in protection. Like, come
I
on.
think GDAX leverage would be very interesting for how it would affect Bitcoin price, because
Well, they already had it. It failed though,
Yeah, sure.
and brought Bitcoin to like 8 cents.
Well, exactly.
Which-
Which very
Which
interesting.
which that's when GDAX was still in the MEX index, and it fucked BitMEX that day. Oh my god, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It was a boo boo.
So,
Yeah.
okay, but if GDAX implemented leverage again, but did it properly,
Yeah.
where there was no cascading liquidations or whatever.
Yeah, it would be
I
there.
think, I
Yeah.
think it'd be very interesting to see how that would affect price, because I mean, BitMEX obviously uses DAX for the index, but I think you find as well that DAX is usually it kind of used to be Finex, and recently, in my opinion, it's been DAX. It's the last one to get over resistances, or the one that actually holds a support line. Because MEX has capitulation, works up and down, and MEX always
Right.
goes a little bit more crazy than other exchanges.
Because of the high.
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah, because
I mean, but I also think that gives you insight to really what's going on too, right?
Yeah.
Very little new money is entering the market because there is no leverage on GDAX. And when we were in a bull market, GDAX was always trading at least like 30, 50, maybe even $100 higher than every other exchange.
Really.
GDAX
So-
has 3 times leverage.
Yeah.
They do? No, they don't. Not anymore. They took it away.
Oh, they removed it?
Yeah, they removed it when they fucked up, like in September, maybe before that.
It was.
It
was during the
Really?
summer.
Yeah, their whole engine broke, and Bitcoin and ETH went to like $8, and ETH went to something ridiculously low
Yeah, it's when the
because it just cascaded everyone's licks.
So they
Yeah,
they
the
roll
index-
back the trades.
Yeah, they roll back and let the people who got their Bitcoin keep their Bitcoin.
BitMEX did.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine
they
if-
bit the bullet. They had to though; they had no choice. But my point is that it also gives you an interesting window into that no new people are buying right now.
Yeah.
The only
yeah.
people that are buying are the people that are in this space and will stay in this space.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Like, when you see GDAX wake up a little bit, and the volume on GDAX as well has been really like, you know,
It's been anemic everywhere.
yeah, when we were
It's been sad.
when we were pumping from 6.4 to like 10K, I was watching DAX quite a lot, and we'd see like 2 or 3 minutes where I'm talking like 0.25 of volume in like 2 or 3 minutes on DAX, and it's meant to be obviously like the biggest, or not the biggest, but it's meant to be one of the bigger exchanges.
Yeah.
I mean, that's traded every nanosecond on MEX, for God's sake. And obviously
Yeah, but that's what leverage does, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
leverage kind of inflates price in a certain way. So for like a whale to hold price on GDAX, they actually need the coins versus somebody on MEX or Phoenix, 200K becomes 600K, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So
okay. So I mean, we kind of covered all the topics here. Do you guys have any more questions for Nick? Nick, do you have any questions for us? Or for them, should I say, not me?
No, I've had a great chat. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, sorry, thank you very much for being here. Sorry it was so last minute. Yeah, apologies to everyone who's watching because that was very last minute. Usually I'm a bit more on top of the podcast stuff. I've had a pretty crazy couple of weeks, so there won't be a podcast next week because I won't be here, but we'll probably do one 2 weeks today.
It's a big holiday next weekend in America, isn't it?
Ooh, is it?
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, okay. So yeah, we won't do one next.
Kane doesn't even know.
I don't know.
He came from a military family, doesn't even know about Memorial Day.
Yeah, as I said, my dad was Air Force for 24 years, and I don't even remember when Memorial Day is. So.
Okay, so let's run the stream off with some Bitcoin thoughts. Nicola, since you're a special guest, why don't you tell us what you think of Bitcoin right now? What levels you're looking at, and like you said, you've already said this month is the deciding. When you say this month, do you mean this monthly close, or do you mean June?
Oh no, I mean like in the next like 10 days. Like I'm looking for Bitcoin to make a bottom here, down here between here and like 7,800 US dollar, and rally from here. And if it doesn't, yeah, I'm gonna go more to the sideways for the rest of the year scenario.
Will you reduce your crypto exposure if it goes sideways?
Oh, definitely, yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
And if we have a year of sideways chop, would you look to other markets to trade in the meantime, or would you just take a step back from trading for a while?
Oh no, I'm pretty active. I'll swing it. You know, they'll make ranges, and there'll be trades within the ranges.
Right, okay.
Yeah, no, I'll keep trading.
Yeah, accumulate some more Bitcoin. Cool.
Just, when you're range trading, you just have to reduce your expectations and carry on, right?
Yep.
So I'll try and do this smoothly, but I have a chart from Zabs, which I can pull up and put on stream, and Zabs can talk us through it. This could go scuffed very quickly, so bear with me. Open that, and let's move that over here, and boom. Okay, so this is Zabs' daily Bitcoin chart. Zabs, take it away.
Which one did you put up, bro?
I put up the first one that you shared with the swing trading template, your beloved.
Yeah, both have got the swing trading. So have you got Phoenix or?
Let me have a look. It was the BitMEX chart that you shared first. You want me to swap it to the Phoenix one?
Oh my God, Zabs did a BitMEX chart. Holy shit, my heart. Oh my God. That's like Flood saying he's gonna buy altcoins. About fucking shit myself.
Kane's gonna dump his bags on
I can probably just go through both of them because I do actually like using the VPVR as well. So
alright, well let me pull up the Phoenix
much.
one. That's easy peasy. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. On you go, Zabs.
Yeah, so obviously I'm looking at S1 and then the bottom of the VA, which is probably around about 8,000 now. You could probably even go down to about 7-8 if I look at the MEX chart. But yeah, if we don't hold that level and we don't see some type of buying, I'm with Nick as well. I think that will probably range for the next 7 months. But yeah, the big important levels there for me are definitely 7-8 being a bottom. But if we don't actually break through this huge high volume node now, around about like, you know, from this 8.2 down to 8.1, and we do see some buying. Hopefully we can break the 10K.
Yeah, higher low printed basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Turnip. What did the triangle say?
We're fucked. I don't know. We almost broke out one of the triangles. And then we obviously came back in. We tested it. So if we go back down, we're seeing like 7, 8.
Right, okay. So is it, do you guys, everyone's talking 7, 8, right? Do you think this is going to be one of those things where
you don't get there?
Yeah, everyone's like 7, 8, and you either don't get 7, 8, or we just
see, here's the problem, right?
7, 8.
Everybody draws the triangle, but nobody realizes that you very rarely get to that exact target of the triangle. You usually get to the last 25% of it, and then you break out. Either way. Either get denied and you just dumpster, or you actually do what it's supposed to do and you break up.
So are you talking about descending? The descending wedge? I was going to ask.
Yeah, descending wedge. So, I mean, we'll see. We're gonna know within the next week, but I don't think you most likely never see the actual target of that wedge.
Okay. All right. Okay. Flood.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad to me. I mean, if we break 7, 8, I'll probably start selling some spot or maybe short. I don't know. Just kind of sideways. I'm not really interested in trading this right now.
Right, okay, taking a step back. All right, okay. And Kane, I've got your daily chart up on stream. Talk us through.
So the gray box is the weekly order block that we have hit twice now. Blue box is the daily inside of that. I fib out the order blocks 50% of the range, so market equilibrium. We've, we've tapped it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nick. This is what I was talking about when I said Kane uses fibs in really weird ways that probably make you want to put bleach in your eyes. He draws an order block.
No, that's fine.
And then finds the finds the middle of it using Fibonacci.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because I can do it on literally like a 5-minute time frame, and I use this to scalp, and it's
the 50 is always a really good one, I think. So good on you.
I like the 50, and then I've been doing really weird things with the 0.75 to 0.79 range on lower time frames on Bitcoin for scalping.
Getting funky
for
like fibs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for this, we dipped down into this. We've solidified 50% of that order block as support. We came up out of it, built support on top of it, went up, and now we're coming back down into to retest it. And we've already rejected off the top of it on a daily. I would love to see the stops from the last time we were here at this price get run. And if we dip down into that green box on the VPR, that's a very low volume node. That's where you should get rejected from immediately. Essentially what that's saying on the VPR is that so little of the market has transacted there, and that's altogether such a thin move up that there should be people waiting to buy there with enough demand that we should get rejected from there. Okay. Honestly, I don't think we're going to get down there. But I think conversely that if we do, everybody else is going to say we're fucked. But by virtue of what I see, it would kind of be a make or break thing. We'd have to reject pretty hard and pretty quickly. It'd have to be a very fast move. That's also to qualify as a stock run. It should be quick down and quick up.
Okay. So to summarize, you're all basically saying, this monthly close is very crucial, and if a bottom isn't formed quickly and around this price, then it is a very bad signal for Bitcoin for the rest of the year or for the longer term. We're going to continue this kind of consolidation or sideways.
Yeah, I agree with Nick.
Definitely.
This month is very
and I'm not going to put up any charts, and I didn't ask you guys to prepare them, so flash quiz. But Ethereum, let's talk Ethereum. Obviously, Flood has been screaming it's the trade of the quarter for a while, and it's it's come off really well from the bottoms. It's had a little
It's
bit
going
of
back
troubles.
to point one.
everyone's wanted to short it.
No.
From what I can see, give us what's the Ethereum update?
Point one.
Point one. Yeah.
For me, I agree. Like for at least 6 weeks now, Ethereum's outperformed Bitcoin, but Ethereum's reached kind of an important resistance level against Bitcoin around 0.084. I think that we could see a pullback here and a bit of a setback. So maybe a week or two where Ethereum underperforms before it gets going again. But longer term, I really like Ethereum to continue out to perform.
Right, okay. And Flood, do you have anything to add about Ethereum?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if we get some Ethereum futures contracts. That's been in the works for a while, so we'll definitely have to see what happens with that. But I don't know. I mean, sharding, that's definitely interesting for those fundamentally based investors and traders. But for me, I just think it looks good, so I'm going to continue to hold. I have taken some profit, but I'm still waiting for around 900 to take quite a bit of profit.
All right, sweet, okay. And you're going to close out majority of $900 and then hold the rest and look for a higher? Do you think Ethereum will make any new? Do you think it'll revisit the high of what was it, 1.3 or something like that? That's a no. Okay, Kane, Ethereum.
I'm in the same vein as Nick, to the point that I took some small longs on some ETH pairs yesterday, just because of looking where Ethereum is at on the ratio, and then looking at where some of these ETH pairs themselves are. Technically, it looks good, and I almost think it's like, I mean, I don't trade Forex, but it's almost like, from what I've studied, just focusing on different pairs. I mean, if you think that something looks strong against this, you can infer from that it should be weak against something else, and seeing where Ethereum is at this resistance on the ratio especially, and then looking at where ETH paired alts are at supports or strong levels, it just lends some credence towards that theory that we're going to pull back a little bit here, go sideways for a bit, and let some ETH pairs run for a bit.
All right, okay.
But overall for the year, I loaded up on spot 250 to 300, and I'm still holding that.
Okay. And Turnip, obviously you hold a lot of cold storage ETH. Are you trading ETH actively just now, or are you just holding?
I'm just holding.
All right, okay. You're not looking to make any trades on ETH. Not gonna log any any futures on Max.
Nope.
Cool.
I just like it. I think it's just gonna outperform. It makes more sense to me to hold that in cold storage than it does Bitcoin right now. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Zabs, are you playing with ETH at all?
Bitcoin's gonna pan.
Well, I kind of also I started hedging my Ethereum into a couple of really bad shit coins. That at support.
Was one of them OMG?
Well, not really. I doubled my ETH on AIDS.
It's
Which is cool, and I'm pretty much just looking because I basically sold all the aid, so I'm just looking for something else.
There's some ticker names that are just should not exist.
Yeah, but looking at the daily Bitcoin chart, where the pivot actually acted as major resistance, and we're going to close with this really ugly pin. If nothing happens tomorrow and we actually get a like almost bearish engulfing and a swing high pattern, I would pretty much start moving my stops up on Ethereum USD, because it would probably yeah, I mean, I would probably see Bitcoin getting down to like 7.1, and I would probably see it dropping quite a bit. So looking at this chart now, I'll probably actually not
S-
stocks up.
Speaking of, not to interrupt you, daily close in 2 minutes.
Yeah, camping.
Day close in 1 minute.
Phoenix turned the daily green.
Ooh.
Phoenix.
close?
Someone market
Can it-
bought 70 Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Jesus.
can it close above yesterday's high?
No.
No.
But even green still not great because the pivots basically rejected us since we've gone down, and this would just be the
Yep.
retest.
Damn.
We got to look at the open too off of this, but yeah,
Get ready to read.
I saw that 72 go through.
Okay, so Zabs, you're looking for a retest of the S1 pivot on the daily. Oh, sorry, that's
No,
oh,
we've
that's
already
it.
retested.
Yeah, yeah,
the
sorry.
pivots. I'd probably say it's more down to like 7-1,
Okay.
7-2.
Okay, well, hopefully we can get a bottom in.
All depends on tomorrow's close.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully the next weekly goes well. Hopefully that is the bottom. 6.4k generational bottom for Bitcoin. Then everyone in the cartel can be claim they were on the ball. Okay, so I think we'll call it quits there. Thank you very much everyone for coming along. Nicola, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank
It was
you.
really interesting to have you on.
man.
And hopefully we didn't pester you too much with bad questions. I would have been a bit better.
No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
No problem at all. And thank you everyone for watching. And I'll get this uploaded onto YouTube tomorrow. It might be a bit later for SoundCloud. If anyone is watching and is happy to turn a raw MP4 into an MP3 for me, I know that's not very difficult, but I don't have time to do it tomorrow. I would really appreciate it. Give me a DM on Discord and we'll get it sorted. And then so next podcast will be like 2 weeks time if everybody's free. Special guest to be determined. Might be Donald, because everyone voted for him and I've been a bit of a dick and not actually got in touch with him yet. So we'll probably get either Donald. I'm keen to get Wonton on, and I'd maybe ask BitMEX Gaitis to do one with us as well. And I want to get the dog on as well. But yeah, anyway,
Hell yeah.
we've got loads of time to do them. But yeah, Nicola, thank you for being here. Flood, thanks for coming. Tony, thanks for coming. Zab, thanks for coming. And Kane, thanks for
Yep.
coming.
First, peace.
Peace, guys.
Have a
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you all.
Good night.
Bye.
All right.